Okay, so this is the Road Tripping with My Dog podcast, and I'm here talking with Tanya Finley about her election campaign for the upcoming provincial election on Saturday, I believe, the 24th. So, hi Tanya, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Excellent.
How's everything been going?
It's been going great. It's super busy, lots of stuff going on, huge learning curve. I'm super excited.
Yeah, and there's been, because I know that like the riding goes from out to Yak, and then Creston, and then Caslow, Salmo, Nelson.
Yeah.
Is
And
that the
Lardo,
edge?
Lardo as well. Like
Oh, right up to
yeah,
the top of
yeah,
the lake,
yep.
Argenta, Johnson's Landing. So it's not Castlegar Trail.
No,
That's a
basically
separate
where
one?
the junction is, we kind of cut off there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What about the valley?
The valley is someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been, because I know you've been on the road all over the place in our brand new snow on the mountaintops.
Mm-hmm.
How's everything going, and how's the reception been?
It's been great. Everybody should have their winter tires on. Just want to remind everybody because there is snow on the top of the pass, and the ferry's there if you're chicken to drive way up there. So happy to have both options for us where we live in our region. And yes, I've been traveling a lot around. I've gone to Creston, Yak. I've sat in people's backyards with bonfires. I've watched a whole bunch of new stuff. So I've really enjoyed learning about our region.
Bonfires. So that's an interesting thing to be. Because that gets the backyard feel to it, right? Instead of just being all the formal everything.
Exactly. So it's much more comfortable, and I love the people everywhere around here. So they've been very welcoming and kind to me.
Yeah, okay. So this is, I got to ask you this. Why Liberals? Why now? And why the province versus local, municipal?
Well, our mayor didn't call a snap election, so I can't run municipal yet. And Horgan called one. So when it was the opportunity and there was only one candidate running, I thought, I can't sleep, so I'm going to put my name in the hat for the BC Liberals.
Yeah, okay. So the whole snap election, because I know that you've been scrambling, and I know that the Greens have been scrambling too, and the NDP, they kind of, it really feels like they were set up ahead of time, just more prepared, ready to go, and kind of sprung it on everybody. So, because the NDP here, they have a campaign headquarter, and you guys don't, neither does the Green and stuff. So it's been how's it been with all that, just trying to scramble to make it all work?
I kind of feel bad for everybody a little bit. I mean, we're all really hardworking, so we pulled it off. We all got on the ballot on the same day, so that was encouraging. Elections BC has been working overtime to get everything set up. I don't think they were also prepared for what was going to happen. And I think all of the parties have done a really good job of pulling this off in a very short time frame. I mean, we have 4 days left to campaign, so.
Yeah, it's been like a total blurry. Like, I don't even remember when it started. It just kind of happened quick and has flown right through. I mean, there's been advanced polling already and stuff or voting and stuff.
Yeah, there was pre-voting advance polling started on October 15th and will go until the 21st, and then election day will be the 24th until 8 p.m.
Yeah, for general voting and stuff. Okay. So, like, I just look at the kind of questions that I have are basically local, but also provincial. And the number one thing on my mind is mental health.
Right.
And what's been going on, because it really kind of started with the Olympics, and a lot of people were literally pushing people out, and it's been a big problem. And you know, we have that problem up Government Road and stuff. And how's that? You know, that really needs to be addressed, and it doesn't feel like it really is. And I mean, last year on Baker Street, we had a woman walking down the street randomly stabbing people. So how does that? You know, how do you really look at that and try to do something? Is that on the priority?
It's a very high priority for everybody. What's happening right now is extremely challenging and complex, and I think there is a lot of people that we need to be looking at their mental well-being and trying to treat the cause and prevent the harm from this. I think we need to be looking with our officers. I think we need to be looking at our court systems. I think this is a very big, we need to be talking to parents to say, you know, are you prepared to let us, you know, manage this in a different way? And I think it's talking and having a lot of hard conversations with people, and what we are doing is currently not working. And throwing good money at bad is never a good solution.
Well, yeah, I see a lot of like kind of mismanagement with money. Like the roads they were paving from Tag-M Bridge to the Orange Bridge locally here, 90% of them didn't need to be paved. And like we could have put that money better to use, like kind of just transfer it from roads over to healthcare, and then, you know, even $1 million of that could have set up, that's like, you know, for 4 years, 20, like that's $50,000 a year salaries that could have been put in for healthcare workers to, or like professionals to come and work with the people and stuff. So how can that make an actual change and stuff like that to, because it just feels like money's going in the wrong places. They're always picking roads, and then when the roads go in, they build these signs everywhere, put them in, and that's a waste of money. We know that the government made the roads, so we don't need the signs. And like it just seems like it's not being handled. I know it's very complex, but the funding, if you fund proper programs and stuff and find it in the right places, do our roads years down the road, because they, pardon the pun, but because they were good to go, so the money could have been used better. And a lot of people were pretty upset with that kind of thing.
So I think owning a business for so many years, I have managed my money quite well and carefully, and during floods, fires, pandemics. So I would be doing the same, be looking at exactly what was going on. What happened in the past, I can't change. I think the Selkirk Paving did a fantastic job of doing it at night and didn't impact our economy or our businesses that were operating.
Yeah, and people thought that. Sorry to interrupt.
So yeah, they did a great job on what they needed to do. What should it have been spent? That's something to look at. But for now, I'm going to be looking at what we need to do with budget and money for the future, for sure.
Yeah, it just looks at just management and putting it in the right places and stuff like that. But yeah, so I know that was kind of a contentious thing with some people. But then that kind of leads to like the problem with Government Road, and it's just heartbreaking to see that, but it leads to the housing problem. Mm-hmm. And before I get into the whole thing about you can't do anything about the past, then as far as I'm concerned, this riding from the last election, the three candidates, you and Nicole and Brittany, you're starting in almost quicksand because of Michelle, where she campaigned hard against the Site C dam, okay, really hard. And then as soon as she got elected, she put full support for it. Then she went silent, and there were people literally picketing her office, and she was deleting posts and comments, and she just wouldn't answer to it. And people are really upset, and they got cynical. And so now, in this election, so that's like what we were just left with. And now with this new election, the three of you have to, people have lost their faith. And we need to believe in what you're saying, because I don't even look at platforms anymore, because she was like the cliche final nail in the coffin for me they looked us right in the eyes and lied to us. And I can't do that anymore. Yeah. So I look at people, that's what I care about. I'm not sure about the whole party system. I think it's kind of broken, but I don't know what the fix is at all. It's just kind of in my gut that something's not right. So I believe in getting good people in all the parties. And that's where you come in, because you're a successful business person. You're very caring. You've done a lot just through your burger beer things. Like you've helped a lot of the community. You're always into things. And you're just kind, and you're just very genuine, which is very much lacking in the political world. I tried to watch the debate, and it just didn't seem genuine. It was just the same stuff over and over and over. And so after Michelle, what she did, now I just look at people. So I believe in you as a person, and I know during, what was that, like May, during quarantine, you literally got us heard on the federal parliamentary floor for Nelson.
Yes.
So you get stuff done, and you get our voice heard. So how can you can you give us a bit of your background, because you're like the president of the Business Association, something like that?
I am the director for our region for the BC Chamber of Commerce, and I am the two-term president Chamber of Commerce for our Nelson Chamber of Commerce. I am the chair of the Police Foundation, and I sit on the Street Culture Collaborative Board as well, and I sit on Economic Development and Recovery, as well as I own Finley's and Sage. I'm
Yeah.
a mom, a wife, and
That's
2 kids.
it, huh? Well, yeah, but that totally shows the humanity in you and a well-rounded, like, you know business, you know people, you know the community, you've helped out people, and you kind of see and know how things get done. So, let me know, or people that are going to listen to this, just about, you know, what you hope to achieve if you're elected, and how you're going to go about it.
Well, I hope people will see that government is not working well right now. The issues that are happening, I think every party has, we're all saying pretty much the same thing. There's just an emphasis on one thing or the other, whether it's more business or more environmental or more on healthcare or government funding. The idea is to have someone that's going to be listening to you and then bringing that down to Victoria and speaking on your behalf, not on their behalf. And so that is my goal, and that is my intention, is to listen to all of you, take that information down there and have it heard.
Okay, so, well, I know that you listen, I know that you care, all that stuff. And when, like, if you or whoever wins the election, when does that kind of take effect?
Well, unfortunately, with the SNAP election, there are so many people, and COVID, that there's so many people that have put mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
So there's I think there's almost 700,000 mail-in ballots for British Columbia. So
Wow.
the expectation is hopefully by the 9th of November, we should know who won.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So it'll take that long.
I didn't really mean who won. I meant more, you know how, we'll just say the U.S. election, it's like the first Tuesday or second Tuesday of November, but they don't actually officially take office until like middle of January.
Right.
So do you know when that kind
I
of...
don't have those answers yet either, because we don't even know when the count will finish.
Yeah, right.
So it's very unknown, and I don't know, because legislation could change it. That's what happened with the election. They could change whatever they want, apparently. So we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not... The way this whole thing happened is, I didn't really... Just the SNAP election, I wasn't really on board with it. But, you know, I'm so scarred from Michelle, and a lot of people here are. And one of the things, do you have anything to say, like, something I'm curious about, and nobody's thought about it until I actually say it, is with Brittany's leaving City Council to do this. Like, you can't be on City Council and in the have a provincial seat, can you?
I have been told otherwise.
You can.
I think you can keep both. I don't know what her intention is. I did ask to have a conversation with her, and I was told till after the campaign.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't had a direct conversation with Brittany.
Yeah, that was just something I was curious about, but I'll get into that more. So my next thing is housing.
Yes.
Which is a really big thing here. I mean, and it's not, like I say here, because it's a big thing in Nelson and Creston, like the whole West Kootenay, but it's a big thing in the entire province. I mean, really across the country.
Yeah.
So how is that really going to be addressed? Because that's actually a big part of the mental health. There's a lot of people that are leaving and stuff like that, the area. And then from COVID, there's a lot of people that are coming here with buckets of money.
Yeah.
I've seen that because I work at a hotel, and I've seen people have come literally from across the country, and they're getting out of the cities, and they're coming here with tons of money. Like, I met one guy, he lives in Winnipeg, but he has a $1.8 million piece of land outside of the Lower Mainland, and now he's coming here. He's like, no, not doing it. And then so it's driving our housing prices up, and people, like, they're barely scraping by as it is. Like, one of my friends said pretty awesomely that Nelson is like the richest looking poor town he's ever seen. And what are your kind of thoughts on that?
Well, I think City Council did a great job with the laneway housing. I think that it's cheaper for someone to build a massive house than it is for condensed living, multi-family units or smaller units.
Right.
And so we need to be removing some of that red tape so that builders can actually build what they want to build.
Right.
And that will allow for more housing and smaller units that will allow working people to actually be able to afford to rent.
Okay.
And so we'll be looking at that very clearly.
Yeah, because housing's definitely a big thing. And the other thing that, I mean, this has been going on, we've known better than for over 30 years, is clear cutting watersheds. I mean, I know the forestry industry is a big thing, you can't deny that and stuff. I just think they should have transitioned or started looking at it a long time ago. But here we are 30 years later, and I mean, there's problems with that in Glade, Weimer, Balfour, they're all having those problems, and it adds to all the fires and the risk of fires, which is a very serious thing in BC, as you know. So, and I know that right now, like the current government, they're still allowing or consenting to or whatever for clear cutting of old growth forests, which, I mean, once they're gone, they're not going to be back in many, many generations type thing. So do you have thoughts on that at all?
Well, I think the watersheds are extremely important. I think they're in all of our backyards, and we all have kids and houses and stuff around them. I think we need to be relying on the specialists to be doing that and talking to Kolesnikov, who are like farmers, and saying, how do we do this? You've been doing it for 100 years safely. And the NDP and Green have been in power for the last 3 years, and that happened under their watch. So maybe we do need to be looking at regulations, but we can be talking about those things. But I need to get elected in first before we can do those things.
Yeah, there's all that getting elected in first. Okay, so those were kind of my main things. I know, like, since I moved to BC in like almost 25 years ago exactly, November 2nd, 1995. I've been here since May 1st, 1999, and it seems like the entire time it's just like back and forth between Liberals and the NDP. And there's always been, like, one of the legacies of the Liberals, I mean, to get into the Olympics, they did, like, when Gordon Campbell, he had 3 straight terms, and in that time, do you remember the healthcare before Olympics stickers? So they closed down a lot of hospitals, a lot of schools. I was on, like, disability because I have a lot of health problems, and in mid-January 2003, like, I had to re-sign like a 25-page form just to be qualified because they gutted those and stuff. And people remember that. So how do you guys kind of break free of some of the negative and look at the positive and try to go forward? And how do you look to do that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, what happened then, I can't change again. We go back over this. And even during this COVID period, we have, a couple employees who, like you, have permanent disabilities and fell through the cracks. So there's always mistakes, and there's always things that you can improve, and we need to be double-checked. We need to be holding people accountable and going forward. And that's what I've done my entire career of 2 decades, is watching carefully, adapting slowly, and moving things in a direction, and double-checking.
Excellent. So the only reason I kind of bring up the past a bit is because it sets a consistent tone. And people are tired of the same old cycle, the same old stuff, politician-y saying, politician-y talk, that none of it seems genuine. So I know that you're genuine because we kind of have a history somewhat, like starting with the triathlon world, because we both did that, and I'm just watching you around town and all that stuff. So, like, that puts me, when I get back to, I'm not into parties, I'm into people. That's why I have a lot of faith in you as a person. But so I look at past as setting up tone for future, learning from mistakes and also successes. But now we're in this whole bizarre, crazy COVID world that, like, I've had conversations literally from this summer, which was the craziest summer ever. We set records when we reopened our hotel in mid-July, and I've had people from at least Nova Scotia, right across the country, and the Yukon, and I've heard it all. So with the whole COVID, I'm not going to get into the whole polarized stuff, but it's had a severe impact, and I know a lot of the restaurant people here, including you guys, because I somehow fell into writing about food and stuff, and I've seen the impact with that, especially now with the patio season coming to an end, because we had an expanded patio season, so where they could have bigger ones, more people. So now that that's closing down, Like a lot of businesses have closed, like completely gone bankrupt, shuttered down, all that. Do you have any ideas or thoughts about how we move forward with that? Because that affects you directly for your business, of course. So you've been right in the mix. Like I said, you got us heard on the provincial or the federal floor, which was pretty awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah, but now like it's just a massive struggle everywhere. And then when we go into the winter, like when school came back, like there's a lot of people with anxiety and not handling it well. And then there's all the kind of fighting all about it, depending on what you think about it. And it's a real thing when you're looking at the economic impact and the healthcare. So can you talk a bit about that, the whole COVID thing, and how we move forward and what we've learned from, because at the start there was just kind of a blitz when people weren't sure what was happening. And it seems like it's not going away. And the money, it was basically gone, like we just blew it. And now we have to endure the remnants of it.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that?
Well, I do think COVID at the beginning was a time where no one knew what was going on.
No.
Everybody was afraid, taking your clothes off before you came in your house to ensure that you weren't bringing anything contaminated in. It was very extreme, but it was exactly what needed to happen at that time because none of us actually knew what was going on. And as the chamber president and the BC Chamber, it was my responsibility to stay open and continue to learn to keep everybody else safe through the process. So as each business opened, we encouraged them with "We are open for business" stickers, helping them with interior health, handing out my interior health guidelines so that they didn't have to do what I had to do and go through all this extra work. I'm proud of the Chamber of Commerce and Tourism BC for everything that we've done to keep our economy strong throughout the summer months. And I will continue to do that as long as I keep being elected. I will keep working and figuring out what we need to do for each sector. And firsthand, I saw how important teachers were for me. I could not have done my job without the teachers and support staff. It would have been impossible.
How do you mean the teachers?
Well, they took my children in when we didn't have any childcare. Brent and I are a single family income, and they offered to lend a hand to help us through this, and I will never forget it.
Wow.
And so the police were offering to, after their shift, were offering to help me delivery drive because Brent and I had been doing 12-hour shifts for months.
Yeah, didn't you work like 150 something days straight or something?
And everyone was offering to help. Teachers were offering to help me paint. It was a community, and that's exactly what I am. This is my home, this is my region, and I will fight.
Yeah, so we need to, like the community part, because we have to, when you're looking at the provincial scale, because I'll be quite honest, when I found out that you were running, I got kind of selfishly upset because in my own little head, I had you as our future mayor. But instead of lifting up our town, you're looking to lift up the region and the province. So that's very commendable. But then you look at it, the whole thing as a community. So our community here, but also BC as a bigger community with a more vast, far-reaching scale of people. So when you're talking about like the backyard barbecues and stuff like that, what were people kind of just talking about?
It was interesting actually because when I look at our community, we are very blessed where we are. We have a ton of facilities. We are so fortunate where we are. And when you go a little bit further out, that there starts to become no medical, kids are commuting on far buses. Their biggest ask was, could you get our bus driver to slow down with our kids on the highway? So it really set home with me that, we're complaining so much in our society when we have a lot of good here.
Oh,
and
goodness.
We need to start focusing on that and having good leaders that actually can, improve all of those things. But we have a very good life here, and I know that COVID is hard. It has hit all of us. I know that there are people still living in their homes that haven't left. And I want to help that. I want to get people out and back operating, get our economy going, keep our schools safe, keep our police, fire, ambulance, all first responders. My family are full of first responders, and our business wouldn't have been what it is today if it wasn't for them helping us through this takeout model. So everyone that helped us, I see it, and I see what our community did, and I see what our region did, and I am super proud.
Well, yeah, like just the nature of your business, you interact with the public all the time, so you hear all the different stuff. Same as me with a hotel and stuff like that. One of the problems I've had, and a lot of people do, and you see it with the BC media in Victoria and Vancouver, and you hear it with the politicians. It's like they almost, if you're not in Victoria, Vancouver, Kelowna, or Prince George, you don't count. Like they say Prince George is northern BC, but that's like right in the middle. And the rest of us kind of feel like, and we're in that area here, because we're kind of like the very end of the line between Calgary and Vancouver, which is awesome. But a lot of people, they just don't feel like they have a voice, because whether it's the media or the provincial politicians, if you're not in those like 4, maybe 5 cities, you don't matter.
Yeah.
And they just kind of say it, like it just gets implied through the way they talk about things and the policies set in place. So what can you say, because when you're going for a provincial seat, you're looking local for our riding, but you're looking for the entire province. So people way up, you know, in the Queen Charlotte's and, or what, Fort St. John, is that, or Fort Nelson?
All of it.
Yeah, well no, I just get mixed up right on the top corner of BC and Alberta. But so communities like that, like they count and they feel like they don't have a voice so much of the time. So what can you say to them?
Well, I think the whole message needs to be, I'm in Nelson, BC, a town of 10,000, and I got all the way to Ottawa. So if you don't think I can deal with the province, I got it.
Yeah, well no, I know that. Well, yeah, so like kind of like if you want to look at kind of a basic summary,
Yeah.
when, you know, my whole thing of I don't care about parties, because I really feel that as soon as you pick a side, like I think people have forgotten how to be human. They're more wrapped up in being a political ideology. And that's where you get polarized, and you gain bias, you lose objectivity. So that's where I get into the people. And then so when I look at you, from what I know, you have the business aspect of things, and you're tied in with a lot of a wide range of public that you're communicating with, and then just the caring heart, and the fact that, you know, I've said it a couple of times, that you got us heard federally, which totally was awesome. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when I say I believe in people, that's why I'm happy to see someone like you, because we need good people in all the parties.
I agree.
Regardless of what the party is, because when you have good people just want to do good things, and they're willing to work with each other. So you can have, I look at politicians or parties or whatever, kind of like gardens. You got to pick out the weeds, and you got to, so they can truly flourish, and then just feed it with kindness and caring and compassion to let it grow, and then you work together that way. So that's why, you know, I'm happy that you're running, even though I'm selfishly sad that you're not doing it. You're not going to be our future mayor.
Well, maybe I'll be your premier.
Yeah, that would be great. Do you have anything else you want to say at all?
No, I'm just so thankful, and I'm thankful for our friendship over the years. It's like, I just hope we can get back on the triathlons again.
Well, no, next summer.
Come
I told
on,
you.
we're doing it.
No, I'm training to go hard next summer, and like really hard.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do something. Who even knows if there's going to be a race season.
I know.
But if there isn't, I'm going to think of something epic, because
Yeah.
I don't know, just doing a triathlon's not hard for me, even though it's like remarkably painfully challenging.
I know.
But when I do them, like the way I get with a triathlon is that the worst part is finishing, because as soon as you're done, you got to stop having fun. And it's stupid. I want to keep going. And I don't care how beat up I am. So if we're going to do something next summer, if there's not a race season, I will think of something pretty massive. Yeah. And I will hold you to it.
And that's inspiring. You inspire so many people, so, you know, we can do this. We got this, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that's great.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
October 24th is election day, so please get out and vote.
Okay, and that's it? Nothing else you want to say?
No, super proud of everybody. Thank you, and I'm excited to do this for you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Tanya. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. All right.
What do you think, Steven?